And welcome back. It has been a long time coming, but the date has been set. The new Grenada Parliament building will officially open June 21st. Wednesday, we got an exclusive look inside the new chambers.
Parliament building to open in the coming weeks. The announcement was made by Education Minister during Tuesday's press briefing. 21st June is the date carded for the official opening of the new Parliament building. Education Minister says the government has invited both regional and international leaders.
We've invited several leaders in the region, and we are hoping that the schedule or the date of the activity would coincide with their ability to attend. But also we've specially invited representation from Australia, Mexico, and UAE, obviously understanding that they would have been instrumental in terms of funding.
Although the building may not be able to accommodate everyone, Minister Pierce says, indeed, it is a public event.
Each constituency will be asked to send representatives, to send persons, and we're inviting generally the public. Of course, the building would not be able to accommodate everybody, but we are making accommodation on the outside of the building to facilitate persons' attendance.
The project, which cost $22.8 million, although began a few months later than expected, is now on stream and ready to go. For WPG10, I am Rachel Bean.
Is the Cabinet Secretary in Grenada headed to become the new head of the Public Service Commission? Well, that is where the speculation is tonight. Tahira Burke has that story.
Sections of the Grenada media are reporting that current Cabinet Secretary Beryl Isaac will be the new head of the Public Service Commission by the end of the month. Isaac, according to the reports, is tipped to replace lawyer Derek Sylvester, who resigned recently to pay more attention to his law practice. Sylvester has denied suggestions that he resigned because of a fallout with anyone or because he was eyeing another post. The Grenadian Voice quoted unnamed government sources as saying that he might be tipped to be Attorney General. But not so, he says. Now that he is leaving, however, that has led to the speculation of who might replace him. The Public Service Commission is the independent body which confirms public service hirings. Isaac is a long-serving cabinet secretary and a career civil servant. If she goes to the PSC as reported, then who will replace her as cabinet secretary? Well, the name that has come up is Anna Brizan, currently a senior permanent secretary. For WPG 10 News, I am Tahira Burke reporting.
And education officials continue to assess this year's CPA results following its release on Monday. Chief Correspondent Rachel Bain has been telling us what this means.
The males have dominated by securing the top position in the 2018 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment. The first, second, fourth, and fifth positions were acquired by male. Education officials are saying there was a time when the females topped the list. However, in recent time, the males have shown great improvement. With a pass rate of 89.12%, Minister for Education Emmeline Pierce says the nation's children has done well. However, there is room for improvement within the education sector. Minister for Education Emmeline Pierce says more than 2,000 students did the exams, in which 1,808 were assigned secondary schools, notwithstanding that 198 were retained, 45 females and 153 males.
While we do recognize the outstanding performances of some of our students, we do have concern about some of the performances that we have seen. And of course, the Ministry of Education has already started discussing the results and already started looking at some of the actions.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Finley Jeffrey, says although there has been an increase in performances in language and science, mathematics remains a challenge.
It is the best performances we have recorded thus far in language arts and the science. And this, I think, is commendable. And as the minister said, I want to publicly commend the students, the teachers, parents, and all those who played a part in that. We're seeing, however, that maths continues to be a thorny area. And this is something that the ministry will be looking at and will be tackling head-on.
Civics is fairly new to students, and while they tried their best, they complained that it was somewhat challenging. Assistant Testing and Measurement Officer John L. Mitchell indicated that the ministry is concerned about the results in civics, which the highest grade is 54.6%. Nonetheless, they will continue to work with the schools.
Because it was not tested when the exam began in 2012, the kind of emphasis that had to be given to it was not really given, all right, in a sense. So now that it is being tested, you would find teachers exploring topics at greater depths, exposing our children to more. Because the questions are not in the civics, it's not, and this is a curriculum that's used by all of our OECS countries. So it is not just unique to Grenada.
For WPG10, I am Rachel B.
Another Caribbean country recovering from disaster is Saint Martin. All aspects of life was badly affected following last summer's devastation, including its vital tourism sector. But that sector is bouncing back too, according to that country's director of tourism. WPG has a real commitment to Caribbean news coverage, and we recently traveled there for this exclusive.
We have an opportunity, a great opportunity, to basically rebuild better, stronger, I think more effective, more efficient, and get everybody involved.
Saint Martin was knocked down by Hurricane Irma, but was not knocked out, says Tourism Director of Dutch Saint Martin, May Lin Chun. And she says they are moving ahead, putting the sector back together.
If you drive around, you can see hotels have started to rebuild. Private properties are starting to rebuild. If you see it standing still or you still see wreckages, that's because of insurance purposes or people waiting for their insurance or in order for them to start building.
There's a hum in the construction sector there.
There is a lot of activity going on of progress. You see the larger hotels already, announcing even that they're going to reopen. November, one portion, some of them the next year. Every weekend so far, a hotel has opened more units again.
One thing Hurricane Irma forced was a united approach to the marketing of the island, which is shared by Dutch and French municipalities. And Lin Chun says the figures have begun to look encouraging.
The last surveys we took since 16th of April, because we just did 16th of May, but the numbers are not in yet. We are at over 1,100 units open. 46 villas are open. We have 59 different excursions are open. We have over 95 restaurants open. And this is only the Dutch side. The French side has now 350 rooms open. And they have also quite a few excursions open. And they're basically aiming for end of December to be at 1,000 rooms, and the Dutch side is aiming to be at end of December, or the projection I should call them, are over 2,100 rooms. So that brings us back to 54% of our inventory.
The facilities at the main airport are still temporary, but the airlines are coming back. They are now almost at 50% of pre-hurricane capacity.
We are now over 12,000 seats per week in capacity, which is actually picking up now that Copa Airlines is going to start Saturday. They're going to start flying again 4 times a week. So we are, with that said, with 12,000 seats, over 12,000 seats per week, we're looking at least being at 50% of what we used to be.
Lin Chun says they are busy marketing the destination again, and they could see more gains by the next tourist season. They are only praying for one thing in Phillipsburg, that the current hurricane season spares them. Given the battering last year, they at least are owed a break. U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions has overturned a key immigration case that had granted asylum to a Salvadoran woman who had been raped and beaten by her former husband. The decision could have wide-ranging impacts on immigrants seeking refuge in the United States from violence in their home countries.
We can see there are about 700,000 pending cases at immigration courts right now, and most of those are asylum seekers from Central America and from Mexico. And attorneys say that a big portion of those asylum seekers from the Northern Triangle and from Mexico have claims based on these sorts of protections, based on they're fleeing gang violence, they're fleeing domestic violence, and they would have made their claim under a law that Sessions revoked.
Sessions on Monday said claims of domestic violence and gang violence will not qualify for asylum. Shortly after that decision, Matt Cameron, an immigration attorney in Boston, said on Twitter that his...
Thank you very much. We have sports, we have entertainment, and we open a window to the world. all still to come. And wondering what's in sports? Well, West Indies take on Sri Lanka in second test in Castries starting Thursday. Hamid Mark joins us after the break.